All right, good evening. Thank you for joining me here today. My name is Jocelyn Park. I'm the CEO and owner of APLUS Education. You're here because you either have a middle schooler or a high schooler and you're interested in learning more about tips that your student can incorporate to set him or herself up for success. So tonight's agenda will be very quick. I will share the 5 tips um, that your student can incorporate into his or her current routine to help ensure that they're on their way to towards success. And by success, I mean career or college and career ready. Because we always, we want all of our students to be independent in that way, right? Then I will share a little bit more about how A plus can help your student, and then we'll save some time at the end for a Q&A session. All right, so I'll get started. So, for those of you who don't know, the A Plus mission is to educate, equip, and empower the next generation to discover their purpose, unlock their full potential, and become leaders and change makers in their communities and industries. We believe education is not just a means to an end, but a lifelong journey that enriches minds, transforms lives, and shapes a better future for us all. So tip number 1, developing strong study habits. Based on the survey that I sent out, I did receive a lot of feedback on how students um, or a lot of your students struggle with study habits and forming good ones. So what does that mean? There's several things to take note of. The first thing would be learning style. So every student has a different way of learning and processing information. It's really important to understand how your student learns best. So whether that's through visual aids like graphs or colorful tables, or perhaps it's through auditory methods, such as listening to podcasts or recording lectures and listening to them again and taking notes while they're listening to it. It's really important at a young age to understand how your child learns and processes information. And that way, you'll be able to help them develop a system where you can incorporate different techniques and tips to make sure they're using their time, maximizing their time, and in a way that will be conducive to their retention of information. I think that's a huge challenge, especially right now after COVID. We're seeing a lot of students not being able to retain information as much anymore. And then their ability to focus is also very short. Um, the second thing would be to establish a routine. So whether your child is actually, young, a toddler, or older, even, young adults, even us, right? It's really important to have a consistent routine when it comes to studying. So again, whether that's engaging in active learning activities, such as perhaps teaching others the material in order to help them to retain it, or to review the material regularly and to make sure you carve out time daily or weekly or monthly to do that is really important. And you basically have to put it into your schedule. I'll talk a little bit about that later. Thirdly, you want to create a conducive learning environment for your student at home, right, outside of the classroom, because this is crucial to helping them really understand the information that they're reading or that they're soaking up. It's important for this environment to be free of distractions and to be clutter free. So whether that's having a desk in their actual bedroom or perhaps having like an office and they can study in there, it's really important to help them to have a consistent environment that's dedicated to learning and to studying. That way they'll also be able to maintain focus and concentration. Then once you have these strong study habits in place, success breeds confidence. So once you're able to see, hey, your child or your student is thriving because of these effective study methods that are in place, they'll be able to experience academic improvement, and it's basically a win-win situation. You as the parent or guardian will be less stressed and anxious, and the student will be as well. Plus, as time goes on, they'll be able to feel a confidence boost, which will then inherently motivate them to do even more. And there's going to be a positive sort of feedback loop towards learning. And that's what we want to achieve, more so than looking at grades. The next big tip is practicing time management and self-advocacy. So time management is huge, and I find that a lot of our students, they struggle with this because they don't know how to prioritize. So prioritizing means, if you have a list of 10 tasks that you need to complete that day, well, I want to make sure I'm hitting the ones that are the most important first, right? And so that's organizing these tasks in order of importance to finish. So whether that's breaking down, larger projects into bite-sized chunks, which are more manageable for students, setting deadlines for yourself, and then writing these deadlines either in a digital or paper planner is really important. I know sometimes students, they'll write something down in their planner that's given to them, in school, but then they don't end up looking at that planner ever again. And in this digital age, there's actually a lot of tools and applications out there that can be very helpful in helping students stay on track and managing deadlines. Another really important piece is planning ahead. So once you have these deadlines that are written down in your planner, hopefully, you can begin to see whether these tasks and deadlines that you have for yourself align to your goals that you've set up. And I'll talk a little bit more about setting goals in tip number 3. But if there's things that don't line up, or you're giving too much time towards something that really is not serving you well, give yourself grace, and also be proactive in making those changes that you need to make. The third thing that's really important, self-advocacy. So when we talk about self-advocacy, it's whether you're able to speak up for yourself or not. So when you're advocating for yourself, you want to ask questions, you want to not be afraid to ask for help, which is something that I'm seeing students really struggle with. I don't think they have much issue talking peer to peer, but when it comes to talking to a teacher, or an adult, or even perhaps a parent, it's really difficult for them to articulate exactly what they need. But that's a really important skill, especially for later on when they're in college, and they need help from professors, or they need help from their counselor. They need to be proactive. Students need to be proactive in seeking the help that they need and the support that they need. So the earlier that we train our students to be able to do that independently and feel comfortable in doing that, the better it'll be for them later on. The next tip is setting up academic and personal goals. This one's one of my favorite because it really helps to kind of see, each individual student where their dreams and aspirations are. So the first reason why you want to set academic and personal goals is to provide more clarity and focus on where you want to land, whether that's, what school you want to get into for college, or what career path you want to be in. And setting goals provides that clarity, and you're able to focus more and make sure that you're spending your time wisely, right? Trying to align how you spend your time in a day towards where you want to end up in perhaps 2, 3, 4 years. Without these clear goals, it's really easy to feel lost or kind of flounder and feel like you're drifting, which is not something that we want, because that invites stress and anxiety. The second thing is goals serve as powerful motivators. They drive, students, but also adults, to work hard and to persevere in the face of hardship. If you know what your end goal is, then it's much easier for you to kind of envision you getting there, right? But if you don't know where your destination is, it's going to be very difficult to navigate. It's kind of like you're operating in the dark and you don't know where you're going. The third reason why you want to have, or the third important aspect of keeping track of goals is you want to be able to track progress. So if you don't have any goals, then it's really hard to do that. And even with goal setting itself, you want to make sure that you're using a framework that will allow you to track your progress effectively. So one of the most common frameworks that we use in goal setting is the SMART goal framework. So these goals need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be actionable, They need to be realistic, right? We don't want to set a goal that's way too above our ability to achieve them. And they need to be timely. So you need to have a deadline set to them. Otherwise, it's not going to help you to keep accountable. And then based on your goals, if I set my goals at the beginning of the year, 2, 3 months later on, I should be able to evaluate, okay, am I on track to completing and achieving these goals? Or if not, then what's going on? What's preventing me from getting to where I want to be? It's really important to be able to track your progress. And while goal setting and having, a plan and a vision for your life, these things are all very important, but it's also important to keep in mind that they're just plans, right? And so sometimes there will be circumstances or things that happen that are out of our control. So you want to be able to incorporate a little bit of flexibility and be able to adapt to the circumstances that may happen. Don't beat yourself up if you have to adjust your goals or your timeline. Just understand, why you're doing that. The next tip is explore extracurricular activities. The first thing that I personally enjoy doing and helping students locate and place them into are internships. So internships are critical for career preparedness. They're real world working experiences, basically, and these not only sharpen students' soft skills, like again, the whole public speaking piece, email etiquette, all of those things, but they get a better picture of what to expect in a profession that they might be interested in. And honestly, I've had many students also come away from an internship saying, "Oh, I thought I wanted to be, working in the engineering space, but after my internship, it's really clarified to me that I actually don't," which is still helpful for students to understand because it's always that what if mentality, right? Like, what if I had an opportunity to work in this field? What if I did that? And we don't want to live a life of regrets. So I think internships are really helpful tools to be able to help students understand what it's like by providing them real world experience in these career fields and industries. Another really important thing to consider especially when you get to high school, but again, the earlier you start, the better, but seeking out volunteer opportunities, whether that's at a nursing home or local food kitchen, there's so much help that is needed from the community. And for students, I think it's important for them to engage with their local community and find ways to give back. These experiences are often very important in terms of character formation. And that's something that college admissions officers want to see as well. It's not just about the academic piece, but it's about your character ultimately. And plus, there's so many benefits conferred when you belong to a community, right? It allows you to stay connected to other people, build social capital, or what we call networking. And then you also feel empowered when others are benefiting from your help and from your time. So those are really important pieces as well. No matter what you end up doing, whether it's a sport or volunteering or starting a club at your school, college admissions officers want to see that you are committed, that there is a level of commitment there to the people that you are serving or to your school or whatnot. They don't want to see you dabbling in so many different things and not committing to perhaps one or two things. Um, that's just how it is. I think in the real world, it's also important to be able to stay committed to what you're doing. And if it doesn't work out initially, that's fine. But again, they don't want to see students going from one thing to another, kind of demonstrating a lack of commitment or lack of focus. So it's important early on to find out what you enjoy doing and then stay committed to those activities. Tip number 5 is building strong relationships with teachers, coaches, and mentors. It's really important to have a support group, no matter, how old you are. And that can come in the form of teachers, again, coaches, mentors. Um, Oftentimes these are right in your everyday sort of interactions, right? When students go to school, perhaps they go to the front office, they talk to the administrator a lot, or things like that. Either way, it's really important to build these strong relationships. And again, to ask questions and really listen to what these individuals have to offer, right, in their advice or how they answer your question. Having multiple perspectives is really important and will help you formulate an opinion about something. It's also really important, I see this happen a lot, where students will get to know new people, but they don't follow up. So remember to follow up with your teacher, whether that's on a question you had or you want to thank someone. Following up with the teacher shows that you are committed, and don't forget to thank him or her. And I don't want to say that, building these relationships is solely, transactional, right? When we're thinking about who's going to write me a college recommendation or perhaps, recommendation for a job or whatnot. But these relationships often, if they're strong enough, these mentors, coaches, and teachers will be an influence to you in your entire life. And that's been true for myself as well. I still keep in touch with my professors from my graduate school program. And it's really great to be able to catch up and find out what each other is up to, whether like personally or professionally, because you never really know when these connections will help land your next job or perhaps help you, build out your network and be able to help other people. So that's another thing to remember. So now I want to take a moment to talk a little bit more about what we can do, what A+ can do to help. So this summer, I'm really excited to be launching a 2-week boot camp program. This is primarily for 8th graders transitioning into 9th grade, but the work that we'll be doing will actually be helpful for any high schooler as well. We're going to be working on high-level writing, developing those executive functioning skills. So the skills that I mentioned before, whether it's finding a system that will help you manage your time or prioritize, or perhaps developing those strong study habits. But also one thing that I'm really excited about is giving students some project-based learning experiences. So whether that's like a passion project that, students want to kind of launch and perhaps spend the next 2 to 3 years developing, which will look really good on your resume, but also you can talk about that in your college applications. Again, a lot of benefits conferred. I could talk on and on, but we are launching this program this summer. The application form will be available mid-May, May 17th. So if you're interested, feel free to chat me directly, and I can send you the waitlist link, and you can make sure you sign up for that. So when the application form comes out, you don't miss it. The second part is we also offer college advising. I think some students and parents, they know this, but others, I think the majority, they don't know. But we offer several tailored packages for our students. And for some students, they need, all of the support. So we will walk them through the college application process, not only providing them with college application essay support, but also helping them to select which colleges they should be applying to based on their interests, based on their profile, their test scores, all of those things. We'll also be able to help with internship placement, as well as resume building and mock interviews if it gets to that, if you get to that step. And so that is really tailored based on the student and their needs. The third piece that I'm also really excited about is executive functioning coaching. So I've been working with some students one-on-one. Of course, I would say that this needs to be one-on-one because every student has different learning styles, different tools that are helpful for them or not helpful for them. And so we try to figure out a system and a framework that will help students really alleviate the stress and anxiety, but also develop those skills so that they can use them, in college and beyond. And again, organization, goal setting, studying, meeting deadlines. Those are all skills that are covered under the umbrella of executive functioning. If you are interested in learning more or talking to me, on an individual basis, definitely sign up for a complimentary appointment. We'll talk for 30 minutes, kind of see what your student is struggling with or needs support in, and we can talk details. The fourth thing that I'm trying to do more of are these types of informational sessions, workshops, and providing resources to parents. I think right now we are in a state of, I don't want to say crisis, but I fully believe that the next generation, they're facing some challenges that are very different from previous generations. So I myself, I'm a tail end of a millennial. I've been studying a lot about Generation Z and Gen Alpha, which are my kids, right? They're much younger, but the way that they kind of think, the way that they view the world, it's very different. And that means education and the way that we do education needs to be different. And I think right now, aside from the academic piece, there's a lot of mentorship and coaching that needs to happen. And that's it falls on our shoulders, right? To really provide character formation and make sure that they have the skills, the tools in their tool belt that they need to succeed. And it's not just in college and careers, but personally as well. So that's kind of the mission that I have by offering all of these different resources. Again, academics are very important. We've been doing academic tutoring, enrichment, summer camp, all of those things for the past 26 years. But I think in the past couple years, I've been seeing a real need for, again, executive functioning, advising, coaching. And so that's why I'm kind of looping those things in as well. Um, all right, so we are at the end of the presentation. I know a couple of you, I think, came in a little later, so feel free to drop any questions, like a very small group today, but I had several parents who said they wanted to view the recording. This is our Calendly link, so on here you'll be able to book any types of consultations with us, and again, make sure you look out for some informational sessions and workshops that we'll be having throughout the month of May. I will say right now we have a summer open house that's happening June 8th, and that's in person at our Rockville location. We will have a couple things. I will have one of my interns last year come in and talk about how she got into the engineering program at Maryland, which is very, very competitive. We'll hear about some of the things that she did. You'll also get a chance to sign up for our summer camp this year if that's something you're interested in. There will be some light food and beverages, so make sure you come and join us. June 8th, we'll be sending out emails soon. And then I'm also hosting a fireside chat with one of my friends. She is a psychotherapist, and we are going to be talking about mental health. May is AAPI Heritage Month, but also Mental Health Awareness Month. And as we all know, after COVID, our young people, they've been facing a lot of mental health challenges. So we'll be talking about some tips that you can incorporate at home as a parent and guardian to make sure that your child is getting the support that they need to manage and handle stress and anxiety. Yeah, so yes, let's see. Okay, I can definitely share a link to the slides as well as this recording. And you can feel free to, again, message me if you have any questions, but these tips should be very helpful. Yeah, so let me stop sharing for now. It was like a really quick presentation. But if there's no questions, then I guess that's it. I'll stay on for a little bit in case you want to talk. Yes, I will send a link to the waitlist for our application. So I'm kind of trying things out. I sent out like a feedback form to parents asking them what they felt like their student really needed. And surprisingly, a lot of them were like, something like this boot camp that I've built would be really helpful. That's primarily transitioning students from middle to high school, but again, it's not like I have 10th graders who are interested in joining. We're really going to be doing again the high level writing, executive functioning, and then getting students sort of passion projects started. And there's going to be kind of a way to stay connected throughout the school year. I think it's going to be really important. I see a lot of value in kind of continuing the conversation. It'll be a small cohort as well. It'll be about 10 to 15 students. So we'll all learn from each other. Most importantly, they'll get guided sort of coaching from myself and from some of our other educators who are going to be looped into this. So yeah, we're just trying to kind of flip education on its head, because I feel like right now what people are doing, the traditional model of education, I don't think that's going to work for our next generation. And they really need to understand, they all have unique giftings, they all have unique talents. Each person is valuable and important, and we just need to help them figure out that path, right? Give them, again, the skills, the tools that they need to be able to get to where they want to be. And I think all of that will tie in together, the academic piece, the mentoring, all of that. So yeah. All right. I will stop recording for now.